Have you ever stood in front of your closet, staring at a sea of clothes, and still felt like you had nothing to wear that truly reflected the woman you are today? I have. And for a long time, I believed that looking elegant, put together, and confident after 50 meant spending money on new trends, chasing youth, or trying to dress like someone I no longer recognized. But one day, something shifted. I realized that real style doesn't come from what you buy. It comes from how you see yourself. And the truth is, most of us already have everything we need to look and feel our best. We just need to see it differently. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 simple, powerful ways to look more refined, confident, and expensive without buying a single thing. These are the same mindset shifts and styling tips that helped me fall back in love with my wardrobe, reconnect with my confidence, and show up as the best version of myself every single day. If you're ready to feel beautiful again, not for anyone else, but for you, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Tip 1. Stand tall, shine bright. The power of posture and presence. You know, when I was younger, people used to compliment my outfits. But as I got older, I noticed something strange. Even on days when I wore my best clothes, I didn't feel confident. And it showed. One afternoon, I caught my reflection walking past a store window. My shoulders were slouched, my eyes down, and I looked tired. Not just physically, but emotionally. It was a wake-up call. That's when I started paying attention. Not to what I was wearing, but how I was carrying myself. And what I discovered changed everything. Posture and presence are 2 of the most underrated style secrets we'll ever have. You can be wearing a $10 blouse and still look like $1 million if you walk into a room with your head held high, your shoulders back, and a sense of calm, quiet confidence. It's not about being stiff or perfect. It's about embodying a kind of grace that says, I know who I am. I've lived. I've earned this space. I started practicing small changes, standing a little taller when I brushed my teeth, pulling my shoulders back while waiting in line at the grocery store, even just sitting up straighter when I drank my morning coffee. And I'll be honest, at first it felt silly. But within a few weeks, people noticed something was different. They didn't say, "You've got great posture." They said things like, "You look so polished," or "You seem so confident lately." That's when it clicked. This was about energy, not clothing. Good posture doesn't just change how others see you, it changes how you see yourself. You breathe deeper, you walk with more ease, you speak with more presence, and all of that radiates something that no handbag, no lipstick, and no designer label can replace: inner poise. And presence? That's something we grow into. It's the quiet strength of a woman who's been through things, who's raised a family, lost people she's loved, worked hard, survived heartbreak, and still chooses to show up with grace. That kind of presence can't be faked, but it can be honored. And it starts with how we hold ourselves. So the next time you walk into a room, I want you to do one thing. Before you worry about your outfit, your hair, or whether you've worn this blouse too many times, just take a breath, stand tall, pull your shoulders back, lift your chin ever so slightly, and walk in like the woman you fought to become. Because the truth is, posture is more than physical. It's a decision, and it's one you get to make every single day. Tip 2. Style less, impress more. The power of simplicity. I used to think that looking stylish meant always having something new. A fresh blouse, a trendy print, a different pair of shoes for every mood. But the older I get, the more I realize, it's not about having more. It's about choosing less, and choosing it well. There's something incredibly powerful about simplicity. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention. It whispers confidence. One day I found myself scrolling through photos of women I admire, women in their 50s, 60s, even 70s, and I noticed a pattern. Their style wasn't flashy. It wasn't complicated. It was clean, timeless, intentional. Just a crisp white blouse, a beautifully cut blazer, maybe a single piece of jewelry. Nothing extra, yet everything felt complete. That's when I started doing something that changed my relationship with clothes. I stopped chasing trends, I let go of the pressure to keep up, and I began asking myself a simple question before I got dressed each morning. Does this outfit feel like peace? Because that's what simplicity gives us. Peace. A quiet confidence, a sense of order in a world that's often too loud, too busy, too much. And that clarity? It translates. People can feel it. I remember the first time I wore an all-neutral outfit, just ivory trousers and a soft beige sweater. I felt serene. I walked into a lunch date, and my friend immediately said, "You look expensive today." The funny thing? I hadn't spent a penny. I'd just simplified. That was the moment I knew. Minimalism isn't about owning less. It's about being more. Simplicity also gives us space to move, to breathe, to live. We're not adjusting this or tugging at that or worrying if something's too much. We're just being. And that authenticity, that calm, centered energy, is what truly makes a woman shine. So if your closet feels overwhelming or your style feels lost, don't add more. Try taking away. Start with one clean look. Solid colors, classic cuts, one pair of earrings you love. And notice how you feel, because elegance isn't loud, it doesn't need to prove anything, and neither do you. Tip 3. Shape your confidence. How a simple belt can transform your look. Let me tell you a little secret. I used to avoid belts like the plague. I thought they drew too much attention to my midsection, especially after turning 50, when my body began to shift in ways I wasn't used to. So instead, I leaned toward flowy dresses, oversized tops, anything that didn't cling. I wanted to be comfortable, invisible, safe. But then, something unexpected happened. One morning, I grabbed an old dress I hadn't worn in years, soft fabric, a little shapeless, but still comfortable. On a whim, I added a thin leather belt around my waist. Nothing fancy, just a small gold buckle. I looked in the mirror, and I froze. It was like the dress came to life, but more importantly, I came to life. My figure was back. My posture improved. I didn't just look different, I felt different. More defined, more intentional, more me. That's the quiet magic of a belt. It doesn't just hold up your pants, it gives shape to your story. Belts can completely transform the silhouette of your outfit, especially when you're wearing something loose or boxy. They bring back the waistline in the most flattering way, creating a beautiful hourglass shape, no matter your size or body type. And here's the thing. A belt doesn't need to be bold or trendy to work. In fact, I prefer the opposite. A sleek, neutral-toned belt with a polished buckle says, "I pay attention to the details." It adds intention to your look without trying too hard. Try adding one over a blazer, or with a flowy tunic, or even just to cinch a simple cardigan. It brings structure, balance, and style, all in a single move. And trust me, once you start using belts to shape your outfits, you'll wonder how you ever got dressed without them. But beyond fashion, wearing a belt reminded me of something deeper, that I can define my own shape, not just physically, but emotionally too. I get to decide how I show up in the world, not hiding, not shrinking, but standing tall with beautiful definition. So the next time you reach for something loose and cozy, pause and ask, what would happen if I added a belt? You might just rediscover the shape of your confidence. Tip 4. Step into elegance, how the right shoes can change everything. There's a saying I love. If you want to know how a woman feels about herself, look at her shoes. Now, I used to think that was silly. I mean, after a certain age, comfort becomes king, and I lived in sneakers, clogs, and anything that wouldn't hurt my feet. I thought, what's the point in dressing up from the ankle down when I'm just running errands or grabbing coffee? But then, one day, I slipped on a pair of pointy-toe flats I hadn't worn in years. They weren't fancy, just simple, sleek, and in the same color as my pants. And I kid you not, the moment I looked in the mirror, I paused. I didn't just look taller. I looked longer, leaner, elevated. I looked intentional. That's when it hit me. Shoes aren't just the thing you throw on last. They're the finishing touch that holds the whole look together, especially after 50, when our proportions change and comfort becomes a bigger priority. The style of shoe we choose can make all the difference. Pointy shoes, in particular, create a visual line that elongates the leg. And when you match the color of your shoes to your trousers, it creates this seamless flow. No abrupt breaks, no cuts across the body, just clean, elegant lines. It's a quiet trick, but it works like magic. And no, you don't have to suffer through painful heels. These days, there are beautiful pointy-toe flats, low block heels, and supportive styles that look polished without sacrificing comfort. The goal isn't pain. The goal is presence. Think about it. Shoes carry us through life. They walk us into first impressions, into interviews, into family dinners and quiet strolls through the park. They can say, "I just threw this on," or they can say, "I showed up for myself today." So here's a challenge. Next time you get dressed, don't save the nice shoes for a special occasion. Make today the occasion. Try a pointy toe. Match it to your pants. See how it makes you feel. Because the right pair of shoes doesn't just change how you look, it changes how you stand. And how you stand shapes how you move through the world. Tip 5. Make a statement without saying a word. The power of hats and accessories. There are days when I just don't feel like dealing with my hair. You know those mornings. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you're running late, or honestly, you're just not in the mood. For a long time, on days like that, I'd throw on the easiest outfit I could find and head out the door hoping no one would notice me. But then something shifted. I remembered Diane Keaton. Diane has always been one of my personal icons, not just because of her talent, but because she owns her style. Her signature hats, her bold accessories, her unapologetic flair. She never tries to look like anyone else. She leans into who she is. And the result? She always looks polished, confident, and completely unforgettable. So one day, I grabbed a soft black fedora and wore it with my simplest outfit, just jeans and a white shirt. And instantly, the whole look felt elevated. I wasn't hiding. I was choosing to make a quiet statement. Hats are one of the most underused style tools we have, especially as we get older. But the right hat can add structure, personality, and a sense of sophistication to the most basic outfit. It doesn't have to be dramatic. A soft wool hat in the fall, a classic sun hat in summer, or even a simple headband or scarf can transform your entire presence. Accessories like these tell the world, I care, not about impressing others, but about expressing myself. And there's something powerful about that. And it's not just about fashion. Wearing something intentional, even on an off day, can shift your mindset. Suddenly, you're not the woman who just threw something on. You're the woman who knows who she is. You're the woman who walks into the room with quiet authority, all because you added one bold, elegant touch. So the next time you feel like your outfit is missing something, don't reach for another top or pair of shoes. Reach for a statement. A hat, a scarf, a simple strand of pearls, whatever speaks to you. Because sometimes confidence isn't about wearing more, It's about choosing one thing that says everything. Tip 6. From casual to classy, the timeless power of a button-down shirt. Let's be honest, t-shirts are easy, they're comfortable, they're everywhere, and they've been a go-to for most of us for decades. I used to live in them. I had drawers full of soft cotton tees in every color. And while they were comfortable, something always felt unfinished. One day, I pulled out a crisp white button-down I hadn't worn in years. You know, the kind you usually save for a real occasion. I put it on with a pair of wide-leg trousers and didn't expect much. But when I looked in the mirror, I paused. It was simple, but it looked intentional. Polished, grown up. That's the beauty of a button-down shirt. It doesn't scream for attention, but it demands a different kind of respect. It frames your posture, it defines your silhouette, and somehow it instantly tells the world, this woman has it together. And here's the thing. You don't need to wear it stiff or formal. Button-downs can be incredibly versatile. You can roll up the sleeves, leave a few buttons undone, knot it at the waist, or wear it open like a lightweight jacket over a tank top. It can be as relaxed or refined as you want it to be. Fabric matters too. I love a classic cotton for everyday wear, but there's something about a silky or linen blend that feels quietly luxurious. You don't need a logo or a label to feel elevated. You just need texture and structure. Two things a t-shirt rarely gives you. The shift for me wasn't just in how I looked, it was in how I felt. I stood straighter. I moved with more ease. I felt capable. And on a deeper level, I realized I was showing myself the same respect I spent years giving to everyone else. You see, wearing a button-down doesn't mean you're trying too hard. It means you're choosing to show up fully, for your errands, for your lunch date, for yourself. So the next time you reach for that old t-shirt, the one that's easy and familiar, ask yourself this. What would happen if I wore something that made me feel strong today? Try the button-down and watch how it changes everything. Tip 7. Wear confidence like a crown. The beauty of owning who you are. Let's get real for a moment. You can have the perfect outfit, flawless makeup, every accessory in place. But if you don't believe in yourself, none of it truly lands. Confidence is the one thing you can't fake, and the one thing that instantly makes any woman look elegant, powerful, and magnetic. Not loud confidence, not performative. I'm talking about that quiet, steady kind of self-assurance that says, I know who I am, and I like her. And I'll be honest, I didn't always have it. There were times in my life when I felt invisible, like my value had faded with my youth. But over time, I realized something so important. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being present. It comes from honoring the journey you've walked, the lessons you've learned, and the woman you've become. And one of the most powerful ways to express that confidence? Through posture, through the way you move, through the way you enter a room, not to prove anything, but simply because you belong. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin lifted but soft. You don't need to be bold. You just need to be. Because how you carry yourself tells the world how you feel about yourself. And the world responds accordingly. I remember once walking into a gathering where I didn't know anyone. I was nervous, unsure, questioning whether I even fit in. But before I stepped inside, I paused. I straightened my spine. I took a breath. I reminded myself, you've earned your place in every room you walk into. That small shift changed everything. I made new friends that day. I was seen, heard, and not because of what I was wearing, but because of how I was showing up. Here's what I want you to remember. After 50, your confidence shouldn't shrink. It should blossom. You've lived, you've overcome, you've learned to love deeper and see clearer. That wisdom, that strength, that light, it shows when you let it. So as you go about your day, don't just think about what to wear. Think about how you wear yourself. Because when a woman owns her presence, nothing about her ever looks cheap. Even if she's dressed in the simplest clothes, you are the most expensive thing you can wear. Treat yourself like it. So here's what I hope you take away from this video. You don't need a brand new wardrobe, a makeover, or anyone else's approval to look elegant, elevated, and completely at home in your own skin. You already have the tools, the posture, the presence, the simplicity, the little choices, a belt, a button-down, a pair of shoes that carry you a little taller. These aren't about changing who you are. They're about revealing who you've always been. I know it's easy to feel like style belongs to the young. But I'm here to tell you, real style belongs to women who have lived. Women with stories in their eyes and strength in their silence. Women like you. And if no one's told you lately, you are beautiful. Not for your age, not considering everything. Just beautiful. Period. If this video resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share your favorite tip, or just say hi. I truly believe we grow stronger when we grow together. And if you found value here, consider subscribing. I share videos like this every week to remind us that aging isn't about fading, it's about becoming. Thank you for spending this time with me. Go out there, walk tall, love what you wear, and more importantly, love who you are inside it. I'll see you in the next one.